Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and please subscribe to our channel right here on Watchbox Reviews. I'd appreciate it, and then I'd be able to send you my best on a daily basis, every watch, every minute, right here on Watchbox Reviews. And if you enjoy these watches, well, you can purchase them. They're always for sale on our website, thewatchbox.com, where you can buy, trade, or sell late model pre-owned luxury watches and vintage timepieces. Check out thewatchbox.com to buy, trade, or sell timepieces. This is a sensational look for the Big Pilot. Inspired by the World War II BR as used by the Luftwaffe, the 2002 Big Pilot's watch was originally intended as something of a novelty by IWC, and there was no sense how long the appeal would last. 16 years later, it's become one of the bedrock models of the collection, and you can scarcely imagine an IWC that does not produce the Big Pilot's watch. This model, however, was another step into the unknown. 16 years later, perhaps I should say 15, because this watch came out in 2017, IWC went bronze and titanium. Same 46.2 millimeter case, same thickness roughly speaking as the watch is 15.4 millimeters thick, and same immense lug-to-lug span at 56.25 millimeters. Nevertheless, the transition from precious metals and steel as used in the past to bronze changed the look and the feel as well as the character of the watch. There's something distinctly appealing about a vintage watch in a material that has its own tendency to achieve vintage patina. So they all start out the same, and this is how they start out. They fit easily on a 16 centimeter circumference wrist if you're okay with the look. That is to say, it's actually a lot lighter than the steel watch. The bronze and titanium combination means this is one of the most comfortable and wearable Big Pilot's watches I've encountered. I would put it on par with the rare titanium variants in terms of wearability on a small wrist. The problem is you're always going to have lug overlap if your wrist is smaller than 17 centimeters circumference, because it is over 56 millimeters lug to lug, but it's light in weight, and that plays well for a smaller wrist. Also, because bronze can sometimes cause allergic or irritation reactions, IWC has fitted the watch with a broad hypoallergenic titanium caseback. So if you're wondering about that, this is the solution. The timepiece features a robust strap featuring nicely coordinated bronze-style bolts. You can see sheer cut. The layers of the strap are easily visible from the side. It's a dark brown with a contrasting stitch that's slightly off-white to match the tone of the case and the dial. On the underside, supple calfskin. It is a comfortable strap even though it is physically massive, and it's paired with a faceted satin-finished bronze pin buckle. Now moving back to the case, IWC knows not to mess, I wouldn't say with perfection, but with success. We can get close now that we're done with the wrist shots. And you can see that the watch has a satin finish designed to prevent it from overpowering, but there are some small thoughtful highlights. As you can see, the polished bevel that runs the length of the case band and flares at the lugs, that's still present and correct from the standard watch. The tone of the case, which, truth be told, reads like an immense oversized Calatrava, is a perfect match to the tone of the Luminova used on the dial. Now stay tuned for the lume shot of this watch because it's going to be something else. But the matte base is, I would say, somewhere between dark gray and black. It's not a perfect matte black. It's got a little bit of a lighter shade to it. And the ecru colored Luminova nicely matches both the vintage-inspired aesthetic of the watch and the tone of the bronze on the outside. This might be one of the most thoroughly realized IWC design efforts in a long time. Now, of course, the watch features heat-blued steel hands at center, as well as for the power reserve scale, a small stepped aperture to ease the transition from the plane of the dial down to the date disc, and the date is properly located at 6. I would prefer it anchor the dial. If you're going to have a date on a watch like this, a vintage watch whose prototype did not feature a date, you may as well put it in an inoffensive spot, and IWC has done that. You can see there's a little bit of a countersink to the 7-day power reserve scale at 3 o'clock, but IWC has thoughtfully included a luminescent hand on that power reserve scale. So it's there, it's useful, and it's functional day or night. The crown is 10.8 millimeters in diameter. it's 10.8 millimeters by itself. Now you turn the watch over and you can see that the case back is simple, but it serves a number of purposes. First, it reminds you that this was a 2017 limited edition of 1,500 pieces. That's self-explanatory. It's also 60 meters water resistant, and I consider this a swimmable watch, as does IWC. Put it on a water resistant band, and the screwed in case back, tough seals, and screw down crown make this a stiff 60. I wouldn't necessarily endorse a push down crown watch with a 60 meter rating for swimming, but with screw downs and a screwed in case back, I feel pretty good about that recommendation. The watch also has robust resistance to, try not to chuckle here, explosive decompression damage, which means if you're in a situation where a pilot's environment, the cockpit or the cabin, explosively decompresses in flight, the watch will not suffer the ejection of its crystal or any of its seals. I guess nice to know, and about as likely to be used in real life as Rolex's helium escape valve. So we're simply keeping score here. More capability than you need, that's luxury. Now inside, 7-day automatic winding, IWC manufacture movement. The one in this watch is the 52110, which means it is the latest variant of the movement born in the year 2000 as the caliber 5000. That was an 18,000 vibration per hour movement that stepped up to 21.6 in the mid-2000s. Now 28,800 vibrations per hour and twin mainspring barrels rather than single to offer a more consistent release of torque and better running, better precision, as well as isochronism throughout the full extent of the 7-day power reserve. They finally killed that consistency issue dead. The Peloton winding system, which is Paul based, was always efficient and always tough. Now constructed of ceramic, it's also a very clean system that eliminates the previous movement's dirt on the movement problem that came about as a result of the Peloton architecture. It is free sprung for shock resistance, and it features a Breguet overcoil profile to the hairspring, so it has resistance to positionally induced or gravitationally induced timing deviation. It does feature hacking or stop seconds, so you can set the watch precisely, as well as a quick set function, so you can rapidly cycle the date. The watch looks vintage in its aesthetic, but it is modern in fit, finish, materials, and engineering. A very sophisticated piece inside and out, and, as I said, surprisingly wearable in this lightweight titanium and bronze iteration on a small wrist. This might be your do-it-all watch summer fun choice. I don't think that you necessarily call this the watch to pick for polite company or the most formal of occasions, but I always like to say that the man makes the watch, not the other way around. If you can rock this thing 7 days a week, well, it's got power reserve for every single day. You can see it and make it yours on the watch box. As you can see, the big pilot's watch in bronze is absolutely sensational, by day or by night, and you know exactly what you're looking at. This is unmistakably an IWC Big Pilot's watch. Now I jest, I say you can wear this watch every day, but you'll have peace of mind if you do rotate through a collection. 7 days of power reserve means that you can afford to make this an occasional watch without having to constantly rewind and reset it. See it and make it yours on the watch box.